98% of the time I wear cowboy boots. I managed to take pretty much every international class that Stanford had.
It's really impressive.
I wanted to open the world to the Soviet people. I was naive, but I was okay being naive. I didn't need to know everything. I just knew what I wanted at the end. I don't let the details get in the way.
What is more challenging, building a successful business in a very, very unstable environment, or to lead a SWAT operation or unit on a mission?
You could not ask for a better asset than Kyivstar to show the world that you can do good, strong, profitable, compliant business. With every blessing comes an obligation. I earned enough to be able to never work in my life, but fortunately I could never imagine not working.
Dear viewers, I'm Alexander Komarov, CEO of the Kyivstar Group, and I welcome you to the Augie Talk channel. My guest today is Augie Fabela, a very prominent businessman, entrepreneur, a friend of mine, a person who has created a business story in ex-Soviet Union, one of the biggest telecom business in the world, VEON, and actually the brilliant person. So welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad
Thank
to
you
see you
so
here.
much. So happy to be here.
Let me start with a surprising question. So you are known for always wearing a cowboy boots. What do they represent to you? I'm not sure that they're so comfortable.
There's no deep message. They're mega comfortable.
They're
98% of the time I wear cowboy boots.
Okay.
Basically in the gym or when I'm wearing shorts. I don't wear cowboy boots. But outside of that,
Do you
summer,
have any
winter,
kind of short form?
I have many, but I stopped wearing them maybe 20 years ago.
Okay.
So they're still in my closet because I won't throw them away. But no, I just, they don't represent anything. I just enjoy them. They're mega comfortable, actually. I can walk miles and miles.
It looks like a kind of manifesto
Uh,
from the outside for us, for strangers, overseas strangers.
It's a bit American, but even in my police uniform, not regulation, but I wear my cowboy boots. It's not regulation,
Okay.
but I just wear my boots. It's just this is kind of who I've become over the last 20 years.
Okay, so it's a kind of part of the personality.
It's just part of my personality.
Okay, I have one more surprise, and this is actually for our viewers. Okay, we will give away a cowboy boots to one of our viewers, to the subscriber, of the Augie Talk TV channel, who will make any kind of reaction, like the video, ask the question, leave the comment. Okay, and I'm really, really serious, so I can even demonstrate. I'm not joking. So,
I love it.
It was not so easy.
I can imagine.
Okay, to find the cowboy boots in Kyiv. Yes, so we will adjust the size. Okay,
Snakeskin.
with
Very
the
impressive.
yes, with the equal. So we will give it away to one of the most active subscriber of the Augie Talk TV channel. So, Augie, your life is somehow is a kind of Hollywood script. Okay, if you had to describe your journey in just 3 words, what are they?
Pioneering.
And this was, I was sure.
You were sure going to
Yes.
say that. I love doing what no one's done before. I love doing what people say can't be done. And I love the word no. I love being told no. So pioneering, for sure.
Yeah.
Faith. I give credit to God for everything I've been able to accomplish because I'm not that good. And we've done some amazing things and we've gone through amazing challenges. So faith would be my number 2. And number 3, I don't know what single word to use, but it's a combination of inclusion, team. I can't do it alone. I can do very little by myself. So it's about...
It's not collaboration. It's something different. It's a deeper than collaboration.
It's much deeper. It's knowing...
So team?
It's a team, I guess, is the word. Have to have a team to do what we do, and to do what I've been able and been blessed to do. Is team.
You launched your first business when you were 13.
I did.
Yes, it was kind of newspaper delivery service.
Yes.
Okay, so
In California.
In California. Okay. How did that early experience shape your view on business, if it shaped your view?
It shaped my view on several levels. Again, I was at 13, very young. Of course, I had help. One more time, team. It was just by myself because I couldn't do everything by myself. But I was up at 4 a.m. to receive stacks of newspaper and to wrap them up, put them in a bag to be able to deliver them. So it was responsibility. It taught me discipline. It taught me and customer service. So I would literally purposefully pay extra to get a plastic bag to put these in plastic bags, and it's on me. I had to pay and buy extra plastic bags instead of just
It was extra
delivering it.
investment
Extra investment
from your side.
because I knew that if I could always deliver a dry newspaper under all circumstances, my tips when I went to go collect the money would be higher, and it worked every time. So that I actually at 13 was thinking like that. Why I was thinking like that, I have no idea, but I thought about that, and it was purposeful.
Excellent. And you have collected money at the end of the period.
So basically, I'd go collect at the end of every month, I'd go collect the money that I'd have to pay to the newspaper company.
Okay.
And then, they always give the kid a tip. So the tip is what I was always chasing. So I made sure instead of just throwing the newspaper, it was always placed in front and in a plastic bag so that the dew, the moisture of the morning
clear.
wouldn't ruin the paper.
Cool. So, and at that time you were alone. So it was.
I was alone, but I had help from my dad. Actually would drive me because I wanted to expand the size of my territory, and I could only do so much walking. So I was in the back of his car. It was a hatchback. I remember this, and I would throw where I could, and then the ones that I knew would be big tippers, I'd get out of the car, place it right in front because I knew they'd be good big tippers.
So team was important.
Team was important from day one.
You were graduated by Stanford. You actually earned 2 degrees in just 4 years.
I did.
So what was the driver behind
It was accidental. It was not a plan.
It was accelerated, and it was actually 2 in 1. So
what happened is I ended up having enough credits to graduate after 2.5 years. Again, by accident. It was not a plan.
It was a mistake in a book of.
It wasn't a mistake, but I was very blessed. When I went to college, I went to a very expensive college. Family had no money, and it was a big sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, I wanted to take full advantage of being there because it was a privilege.
So it was,
and I just took so many classes.
So prepared.
I just took so many classes. I wanted to take every international class that was available.
Amazing.
And I just ended up every quarter I had to go get special permission because I was taking more than the allowed credits in one single quarter.
Nice.
So I ended up with so many extra credits that I was able to graduate in 2.5 years, but I didn't want to because I wanted to stay with my friends.
Yeah, of course.
And so I wanted to complete the full 4 years. So then I took another 1.5 years to complete my master's degree. And I managed to take pretty much every international class that Stanford had.
Very cool. You spent a few years in Japan, maybe a bit less. So
2 years.
2 years in Japan. So and this is actually the part of your life that I have discovered from the preparation. What did you do there?
So that was another interesting story. So as ambitious as I may seem, I wasn't particularly ambitious in high school, and I can't say, okay, I guess I did a lot in college, but I did not bother to interview for jobs. I didn't bother to plan what I was going to do when I graduated. I had one job that I interviewed for, and I was fortunate enough to actually get a job offer.
Okay.
Well, that one job that I interviewed for and I got the job offer for, I didn't do the kind of research you did for this interview.
Yeah.
I didn't even read what the job was, but I had studied Japanese. My political science, international relations degree was on Japanese political economy. So I applied for a Japanese company, made sense. And they gave me the job. What I didn't read is that the job requirement was to do all my work in Japanese. I wasn't that good in Japanese. So I went there to work for a Japanese company. I was working for the chairman of the largest mass media company in Japan in his chairman's office. He wanted to have his own little Stanford graduate because it was kind of cool at the time to have a Stanford graduate from the US. And I was there basically to do whatever I wanted as kind of business development. I did production work. Basically, I was given carte blanche.
It's amazing.
It was absolutely amazing, and I took full advantage of it. I did everything from TV production to catalog sales to amazing lifestyles of the rich and famous production of a TV show. And I was a young kid that didn't know anything, but they thought I was something special. And I said, okay, if you're going to let me do it, I did it. So it was, for me, very formational. Learned a lot in terms of the Japanese culture, business culture, where you sit in a room, how you enter the room, how you interact with people. So I learned a lot from that perspective. And keep in mind, when I was there, I was blessed to be there the 2 years where Japan had a larger economy than the United States. So it was the place to be.
Yeah.
And so it was very impactful for me and what I learned.
The right place at the right time. So
I was blessed to be
Do
there.
you still speak Japanese?
I don't. I'm quite certain that if I spent 3 months there, I would probably come back. So I was able to learn because I had to.
I can imagine.
So I did 90% of my work in Japanese. To read a newspaper, you need about 2,000 kanji characters that you need to know. And they're just memory. I knew about 1,600 that I was able to just learn from memory. And so I was doing my work uh, satisfactorily enough.
And I can imagine because it's a huge cultural gap. So did you adopt a bit? So what are the lessons from this kind of big cultural difference?
There were many actually, and one of which prepared me very well for when I went to the Soviet Union, which is I must have been a clinical alcoholic because the Japanese love to drink.
Yeah.
6 nights a week I was drinking with my bosses because that was the way to kind of get to know them.
So
Six
this is your
nights
secret
a
formula
week.
to succeed in
It-
Soviet Union.
It helped me. It definitely helped me. So I would literally carry my bosses in the taxi for them to go home, and I built quite the tolerance then. But even that, it's kind of a weird way. But all my business deals, whatever I wanted to get done, I would talk while we were out drinking. They would never forget. They would always honor whatever they said they would do, and I was able to do some pretty cool things.
It's really impressive. Uh, what was it like as a sheltered kid from US? Okay, with a couple of years of Japanese experience. Okay, so but still to land in the Soviet Union. Okay, so it's still Soviet Union. Okay, so it's no language. Okay, no rules, especially no entrepreneurship rules. Okay, and as a result of cooperation with a 2 times older Soviet engineer, you were able to build a company that at some point, okay, valued more than 40 billion US dollars.
And let me add to that we grew up as Americans at that time under Reagan, which basically meant we saw the Soviet Union as the evil empire.
Yeah.
And that was my mindset. We were going to the evil empire. Um, and yeah, no, I mean, culturally, it was on one hand, it was like very different, but to be honest, it was very Midwestern. I grew up in Chicago, grew up in the Midwest, great work ethic, dedicated people, nice people.
Mhm.
And I just found when I went there that from that perspective, there was a very comfortable mesh. I was not an engineer. Everybody I worked with had at least one PhD. They were all scientists, they were all engineers. And if you're not an engineer in the Soviet Union, you're nobody, right? You forget about it.
We always.
So we all understood that.
This was
So I mean, that in itself was a huge cultural gap. Yeah, I was half the age of Dr. Zamin, my partner. Another huge cultural. We didn't speak the same language. I spoke no Russian. He spoke no English. But yet something drove us together. I don't know what that was, but we sure shared one common thing. We knew exactly what we wanted to do. So when we started the
from
company,
the beginning.
from the beginning, from the beginning, from the beginning when we decided to become a mobile operator, not from the beginning when we were being a manufacturer, but when we decided we had a mantra, which is freedom to talk. We wanted to bring communications to the Soviet Union for two purposes. One, to be able to deliver mobile communications and just basic communication. At the time, there were 17 landlines for every 100 people. So there was no even landline communication.
Let me remind to people that the first GSM mobile network was launched in Europe in 1987, and we are talking about 1991.
That's right.
Right now.
No, it was brand new, brand new. I mean, so it was something that we had a common vision and view that we wanted to bring an impact. And also, as an American, I wanted to open the world to the Soviet people. And that's what we did because we gave them the ability to open the world all
So
around.
you had sorry, it's a bit pathetic vision. So just to give people a very strong and fundamental humanitarian need. So
Yeah,
this was the driver.
I didn't see it as a humanitarian need. It was unique. Nobody else was doing it. So it wasn't that I had a big bleeding heart. No, I wanted to do something nobody else was doing, and I wanted to do it in a way that I didn't think anybody else could do it. But we could.
It's it's really fascinating story. So and then you had many years of friendship and cooperation with Dmitry Zimin. And I'm sure that you faced plenty of challenges.
So many.
So you give us some examples? So because First, it's of course it's a strange friendship of that young American and Soviet engineer, let's say, okay, and at the same time you build this kind of huge business, and I can imagine how many episodes you have to run.
One great example was when I created the Beeline brand. As an entrepreneur, as a marketing guy, I wanted a brand that could really invoke an emotion in people and to really introduce to post-Soviet Russia a brand, because brands didn't exist. And Dr. Zamin, he's a scientist, PhD. The more technical the name, the more serious you were.
Yeah.
I wanted to move completely away from that. So he fought me, and we fought for about a year. And I just ignored him, and he kind of ignored me, and I just did my own thing. And we created this brand, and we sold under this brand. He hated it, but he couldn't stop me. And then after a year, he was so enamored by the brand that he wanted to use the Beeline brand on everything. Beeline taxi, Beeline restaurants. It's like, no, you're going to dilute the brand. So, but it was examples like that, and we had plenty of other examples where we were so different, but something just gave us a mutual respect that we got through those things. And trust me, I will tell you, he tried to throw me out of the company several times. I tried to throw him out of the company several times. We were very different, and there were a lot of different challenges, but we always came together with a common respect, and it just worked. It just worked.
Okay, I got it. On the way, it was one more achievement. We will address this achievement a bit, but it was Beeline was the first ex-Soviet company listed on New York Stock Exchange.
Yes. Yeah. And
And
everybody said it couldn't be done. There were no regulations to do it at the time, because there weren't. No one had ever done it before, obviously. It was still the Soviet Union risk that it could fall back to communism, because it could have.
and you were 25 years old, something like this,
I was
maybe
25.
maybe a bit more.
Yeah.
25 years
Yeah.
old. It's more than pioneering spirit.
Yeah, I don't oversell it. I was naive. I was naive, but I was okay being naive. I didn't need to know everything. I just knew what I wanted at the end, setting that end objective. And I don't need to know all the details. The details get in the way many times. So I don't let the details get in the way.
The new documentary called in English Connected. It's a bit different name in Ukrainian and Russian. Okay, it's not on the air yet. Explores not only, let's say, the business technological partnership. It's actually very much about real friendship. So, what did it mean to you to be invited for Dmitri's last journey?
So, of course, I didn't know it was the last journey.
Yeah, I know.
I learned
It's
about
clear.
that after the fact.
It's clear from the film,
Um,
yeah.
And, in hindsight, and as we went through the whole journey from when he made the decision and we kind of spent a week together on the boat to when I got the call from his son that he had made a decision that would kind of
Mhm.
change his life by definition. um, of course, it was very special. We were like this for 30 years. And trusted each other and went through huge existential challenges, corporate and personal, and we overcame them every time. So to be part of the beginning and, to be honest, be part of the end for me was an honor and a privilege, and would have not wanted it any other way.
Okay. Let me jump to another chapter of your life. So somehow many people would have retired, after IPO at 25. Okay, so but what was your internal conversation you had with yourself at 44 when you decided to join police academy? So it sounds a bit like a very serious midlife crisis. I know that it is not. I know that it's a different culture, and to be a public servant is something that is a part of American culture. Okay, but still, what are the drivers that push you even to consider such type of trajectory for your life?
Again, it wasn't this like longing to do something for society. A friend came to me. A friend came to me who had started and was on the board of a police helicopter unit. And in the U.S., of course, police is funded like anywhere else in the world by the government. In Chicago, the entire city of Chicago had 2 helicopters covering the entire city. Very unusual. That's very little. and there was a great need for that asset.
Sounds like so
It made no
a
sense.
great limit. No sense.
Made
to be
no
honest.
sense.
Yeah.
Very visionary police chief who ended up becoming my friend. And he wasn't my friend. The friend that was actually on the board started a nonprofit police helicopter unit. Very strange because it's a nonprofit. Why would you do that? They had 12 helicopters. So we were able to cover the city of Chicago with 12 helicopters, all volunteer police force, the pilots, the flight officers, all volunteer. But the problem is that they couldn't raise any money because nobody wanted to give money to the police because they already pay taxes.
Yeah.
And so they were constantly begging for money for fuel. They couldn't raise money. And he came to me, look, Augie, you're a business guy. Can you maybe help redo the business model? Came in, said, okay, let me help. Let me look. I redid the business model. I turned it into an emergency preparedness unit. I was able to get Homeland Security. Homeland Security had just been started. I was able to get funding from Homeland Security grants to basically be on standby for emergency preparedness. And we basically took the excess money there to do our police work. And so we were able to fund our police work through that. Got to know everybody. They were all police officers. I liked them. I saw that they had a mission. I enjoyed it. And the police chief offered me a badge to become a police officer. He's like, I'll give you a badge. You can be an honorary police officer. I said, look, it's interesting. I'd like to help you guys to be part of this, but I don't want a free badge. I said, I made some mistakes early on in the Soviet Union where I took some help for free. Turns out it wasn't so much for free, but I was young, naive. I learned a lot not to take anything for free. I said, look, I'd like to do this, but send me to the police academy. So they sent me to the police academy. I took 9 months off of VEON, went to the police academy. I was 44 years old. Everybody else was 20.
Yeah.
So it was quite.
It was a bit weird. Yeah.
It was a bit odd. It's a bit odd, but I'm a type A. I was very committed. Of course, I wanted to be the best. Unfortunately, the U.S. 20-year-olds are not very ambitious, so it wasn't too difficult to be number one compared to them, despite the age difference. So it's just something that I was committed to, and frankly, I now feel myself a police officer cop first and a business guy second. It's just something that I enjoy doing. I'm able to contribute. It is a way of giving back. It's giving back not just to society. It's actually giving back to my fellow police officers, helping them.
Did you feel that your previous experience is somehow prepare you for the role as a SWAT operator? And
Definitely, yes. It's interesting because typically, at least in the U.S., you have a lot of people who come out of special forces, SWAT, and then they say, we can apply what we know to business. You see a lot of consultants.
Yes,
that do it.
it's true.
You don't see the other way around. You don't see business guys going into
Israel
this.
and America. This is a typical.
It's very typical. So mine was kind of different, backwards. But I'll tell you, the experiences that I went through, you've talked about the unfairness of the things that we went through in post-Soviet Russia. It was extraordinarily unfair. It was extraordinarily dangerous, the mistakes that I made. So you learn a certain way of dealing with these things, combating and managing through the issues with success. And thank God we did. Mm-hmm. And so, I learned a lot about how to conflict management, crisis communication, because in all these things that we went through, I had investors. So it's not easy to explain to them, like, we potentially have just lost everything. Sorry, it wasn't my fault. It doesn't cut it. My fault is not an answer. It's your fault. You're in charge. Everything's your fault. There's no such thing as it wasn't my fault.
I fully agree.
And you understand that.
You can't delegate responsibility.
No, never. Way. So that I learned, and then I was quite structured in how I dealt with any challenge. Particularly as an American, and again, post-Soviet Union, I couldn't put an American front and center and stuff. So I had to learn how to manage and structure the right people to be in front to deal with the right types of issues. I wasn't going to go deal with the ministers of communication because forget about it, an American, no. So I had to guide, structure, communicate, define, and that's the whole thing. I actually wrote a book for law enforcement, for SWAT tactical commanders on how do you structure and how do you deal with crisis.
Yeah.
In a structured way.
But at the end, what is more challenging? Building a successful and business in a very, very unstable environment, or let's say to lead a SWAT operation or unit on a mission?
10x business is much more. With SWAT, the beauty of SWAT, you have one mission, one operation. You don't have 1,000 different things. Yeah. You have a lot of different fluid situations, but it's one mission. You got a hostage or a situation to deal with, and that's it.
So to some extent, it's short term.
It's short term. It's focused. With business, it's all over the place. You have no idea what to expect. You have so many stakeholders, so many pressures, so many people that you yourself have to take care of and serve.
Actually, I know the answer to the next question, but I will ask, what is your personal stance on gun ownership rights in US and abroad? I will make a small remark. So
Yeah.
last time we have been in New York, okay, so and on a Manhattan Island, or let's say in Manhattan, yes, I saw you with a gun. I was a bit surprised because for us it's still a kind of shock. Okay, but what is your opinion about
Well,
this?
first, let me explain that.
Yes, please.
As a police officer, I'm always a police officer.
Excellent.
I'm not. There's no like off duty when you're a
Okay.
police officer. So yes, it's true. Because in the U.S., no matter where I am, no matter what time, home, outside of home, I'm a police officer, and so I always have an obligation to myself to be prepared
Did
and
you
ready
have
for
guns
action.
with you before your police career?
Never.
Never. Okay, so somehow it's a result.
It's definitely very much connected. Very much connected. Um, yeah, I'm very much a U.S. Constitution Second Amendment guy, of course, which is right to bear arms. So very traditional from that perspective. As a police officer, you'd think, okay, well, that means your bad guy has a gun.
That's true.
Wouldn't it be nice if he
So-
didn't have a gun? And my answer is no, that's okay, because there's trade-offs in everything. All liberties come with some restrictions and some dangers. So to me, it's a liberty that comes with some danger, for sure. But of course, responsible gun ownership is key. But of course, I'm in favor of.
But this kind of right tremendously increase risk for the police officers. Because actually, I don't know, half of the population.
It can, but I'll tell you one thing that we learned and we trained, and you're gonna say, I guess that makes sense, but you will not have thought about it, and I didn't think about it. Every single call that I go to when I respond to a scene is a scene with a gun.
Yeah.
Because I have one. You can take that away from me. So is it any more dangerous whether you have the gun or you're gonna take my gun? Okay.
Not
In
so big.
theory, yes, of course, I get it. But it doesn't really change too much the dynamic. You're prepared for it. It's what you do as a police officer, and you can't expect that you change society and change who America is. It's fundamental from the foundation of the country. That
You
you
can
could
adopt to the environment.
you adjust as a police officer.
Excellent. You relatively frequently pivot in your career. So, are there any kind of internal signals you have that it is, time to change? I don't know. Just for example, you are author of few quite popular books. So just what are the drivers inside you that force you somehow to change the direction, to write the book? So
I'm not that structured. It just. I know that surprises you. It just comes. There isn't a time when I say now it's time to try something different, but when I decide to do it, I want to be the best at it. That is definitely a drive. So when I decided to become a police officer, I don't want to just be a police officer. Because I became that. Now I had to, of course, be a SWAT operator, and I had to be a SWAT commander. Then I had to be a special operations commander, and I had to be a air commander, and now I'm a police chief. So and that was a profession that, of course, I wanted to test myself. At 44, can I really start here, and how far can I go? And it was all through work. At some point I was dedicating 60, 70% of my time to just my police work, which I loved. Like I don't have that kind of privilege now to dedicate that much time. But the second book that I wrote, which fortunately became an Amazon bestseller, I just wrote during COVID. I wasn't traveling anymore. I was used to traveling 60, 70% of my time. And there was like a 3-month period where you just couldn't travel.
yeah.
So I decided to write a book. And so I just, okay, let me try my hand at being an author. I'm going to be an author. I'd like it to be a bestseller if I can. And fortunately, again, thank God it did work out.
I know that for your family, okay, so charity means a lot. Okay, so I know that you have established a foundation with your wife, and I personally observed a very active involvement of your junior son into the Ukrainian situation and war. Okay, so what is the philosophy? So it's a family philosophy, or it's your personal philosophy, so that guides your charitable work?
I've been very blessed, and my family's been very blessed. And with every blessing comes an obligation. So it's just the mantra of who we are.
Mhm.
And actually, I think everybody should be. If you're blessed, you have an obligation to give back. And for us, it's about giving back. And it's not so much necessarily money. That's why I love what I do with the police work. It's why my son, you mentioned my youngest son, Andrew,
Yeah.
came, the first summer of the war here to work at an orphanage, came back every single other summer to work here to give back. He also happened to raise money, but it was about giving back of your own time and talent.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's something that we believe in. Again, with blessings come obligations and ability to give back and share with others.
It's really impressive. Okay, so and I can, let's say, confirm this not just a kind of one-off. It's a series of different projects. Okay, starting from the personal contribution to fundraising to support the school, nearby Kiev. So and the whole family is involved. So it's more, let's say, you and your wife and I don't know, Andrew. So
The whole family, since they were little kids.
so it's a part of the culture.
It is.
It's really amazing. We are coming to the Ukrainian situation. So, and we were sitting in Kiev in the restaurant just a few days before the invasion. Okay, so you visited, you returned in Kiev somewhere in June 2022. So to be honest, much ahead of many Ukrainians. Just so you were in Bucha. Okay, so and what were your emotions?
Bucha was quite amazing. So I was there 3 weeks after the liberation, so it was very fresh. And I was there actually with my son Andrew because he was here working at the orphanage. So I wanted him to see what was there. The most impactful image that is still in my head um, is watching a father with maybe a 4-year-old daughter walking hand in hand away from a shop. Now, when I talk about a shop, like I was there 3 weeks after, everything was destroyed.
Mhm.
But yet, already 3 weeks after, they had makeshift shops because they wanted life to continue.
Yeah.
And that image of them walking out of a shop, which was a building that was all destroyed, but they kind of just built it up so they could sell some things,
Mhm.
and a young girl and father walking hand in hand, living life. That to me, we all use the word resilience when you hear about Ukraine, but that's so far beyond resilience. That's doing what you have to do to make sure your life never gets disrupted. Don't let anyone disrupt you. You continue to live as if everything is normal. Of course, it's not normal, but you're committed. And seeing that with buildings with bullet holes all riddled and walking there as if life was normal, incredibly impactful for me. That was the biggest image I have to tell you I walked away from.
Did you think that this personal experience in Ukraine somehow affected you, your leadership style, your decisions that you are taking at your own level?
I've been through a lot of challenges and hardships corporately as a business, actually personally too. Um, the decisions we make at VEON, of course, are very influenced by what's happening here in Ukraine. Start from the very beginning when we made the decision to get rid of Russia, which was the genesis of the VEON group, and it was half of our value.
Yeah.
We basically lost $4 billion, and
Yeah.
it was not a difficult decision at all, but it was a very impactful decision driven by what we thought was the right thing to do, and it was a big decision.
I think it was one of the biggest exits from Russia.
It was the biggest
Yes. So
as a public company,
as a
and no excuses. Again, we went from 8 billion to 4 billion. Our market cap, of course, plummeted
yes.
for a variety of reasons because we had our own challenge.
What strategic importance does Kyivstar listing on Nasdaq hold for VEON from your perspective?
It's huge. And I mean this sincerely. It starts with we didn't need to do that from a financial perspective.
I know.
We did it because we wanted to show the world that during a time of war, we could do this and that there was economic opportunity. And you could not ask for a better asset than Kyivstar to show the world that you can do good, strong, profitable, compliant business. And we wanted to show everybody that you can become part of it and look at who we are. Look at who Kyivstar is. Look at what we can do. So it started with that mission in mind more than anything else. And it's a mission that we still continue and we keep promoting.
I think we can make a reference to the corner shop in Bucha
Yeah.
that you saw in June 2022. Okay, because this was, I would say, quite impressive. So, and I think what we did is more or less the same actually example, but on a bit different scale. That's all.
Yeah. I completely agree. We'll use the other example. You and I were in Kherson.
Yes.
And
yes.
what shop was open in the center?
Yes. It was Kyivstar
It was
shop.
Kyivstar shop.
Yes.
3 people
Yes.
working there.
Yes.
No people around.
It was
So I
no
don't know.
people
I don't know, but they were committed to staying open because
Yes.
that's what you do. No one was there except no cars anywhere as we were driving around.
Yeah.
But they were there. Three stores down was a coffee shop. Also, no customers, but they were open. I mean that is what you call commitment to
This Freedom Square.
Freedom Square.
It's
There's
a
Freedom Square.
huge one, really, really huge one. No people. 12 o'clock in the morning, actually.
Yeah.
No people. And there are just few shops open. Okay, and it is Kyivstar shop, and it is a small cafe.
Yeah.
Okay, so and it is again a flagship. Okay, of our resilience.
Yeah, completely.
So this is, and somehow I fully agree that this is a project of Kyivstar listing, and somehow the same sign of resilience.
Yeah.
Did you have any doubts
About
Kyivstar listing? So because still volatility, so during the war, I do, the first project we did is evaluation. You remember it was 2022, and it was a very clear conclusion from the International Investment Bank. So no way.
Yeah.
Half of your valuation evaporated because of the war.
You'll remember this. I mean, all the banks told us, great idea.
Yes.
After the war, just wait. And no, I had no doubts. One thing I continue to be very pleased with is I don't live in reality, because if I lived in reality, we wouldn't have done it. You don't live in reality, because if you lived in reality, you wouldn't have accomplished everything that you've done for Kyivstar. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I never had any doubts, 0 doubts. And I always did believe. Was it naive to believe? I don't think so. Do people from the outside think it was? Yeah, probably. But that also just motivated me more. The more people said no, it can't be done, the more motivated I got.
I'm using this example for my team and even for my children, that there are 2 types of people. Some people are being depressed by no. Some people are being energized by no.
That's
and
me.
It is much better to be in this cohort of people.
Much happier life.
Much happier life, because otherwise, we are facing so many no's in our life.
Yeah.
So just this will actually hold us, and don't let us to develop at the end. Okay. So, and what if we will try to aggregate what are the outcomes you are waiting from the Kyivstar listing? So, in general,
number one, I want others to follow us. I want other Ukrainian companies to list in the U.S. and globally. I'm a bit biased, so I'm going to say U.S. I'd like them to list there to show, what the potential is, and also to give the opportunity for Americans to invest. So for me, it's like a double benefit, because it is important as an American who is a taxpayer, and we've made commitments and investments in supporting Ukraine. I want American people to benefit from that. So it's opening the markets in the direction towards Ukraine. And again, you think about it, Sasha. It's the only way someone can invest in Ukraine from New York, Chicago,
in one click.
Boom.
In one click.
You're there.
I fully agree.
So to me, that's what we all should feel very proud that we're opening this market. Okay, also for Ukraine, first ever listing means we've opened up the U.S. capital markets, and we've proven that you can do, as I said, compliant, profitable, scalable business in this country.
Yeah, excellent. Also, I would probably add the People's IPO. So I would love to see Kyivstar shares.
That's our next challenge, and we're going to get it done. We want to make this the People's IPO, make these shares available to Ukrainians to become our owners and our shareholders.
From our last roadshow, from the symposium that we had in New York at the end of August, how do you think we can convince investors to support Ukraine, even during the wartime?
I'm going to start with just look at what Kyivstar has done. Okay, so Kyiv, our trading symbol. We're trading almost 2 million shares a day.
Yeah.
You know how many shares VEON trades a day? About 200,000.
Really?
We are trading 10x more shares at Kyivstar
I didn't realize
than we
this.
do at VEON. And we've
So
been trading for
it
30
sounds
years.
like we are much more liquid asset in
It-
comparison even to the VEON.
because the interest is there, the curiosity is there, the commitment is there. And some people do it because they see profit. Some people do it because they see a peace dividend. And some people do it because they think they're contributing to the future.
Very good.
And that's just incredible. So when you see things like that, and we can like add on others to kind of follow that, the opportunity is there. So I see an amazing opportunity with what we're doing, and very proud of that.
It's like a way to open up almost eternal power for people
It's true.
to participate.
It's true. So going back to the Invest in Ukraine Now symposium, another example, we had over $1 trillion of assets under management in that room. And by the way, we only had about 35 people in that room.
Yeah.
The fact that we had people interested to come and listen of that level, it's not because they wanted to come see us, it's because they understood that there was an opportunity in Ukraine they want to learn more about. So I just see tremendous opportunity. The story is real. It's not that we're great storytellers. It's real. We get the opportunity and the privilege of telling the story and facilitating, and we all should feel proud of that. You should feel proud of that. Kyivstar team should feel proud of that because we get to be at the forefront of that.
What is your greatest dream related to Ukraine?
Of course, peace, but beyond peace, it's to really capture the prosperity for the people. I mean, what the people have done and what they've endured with, it sounds trivial, and it sounds maybe not correct, but they've done it with a smile. And when I say with a smile, it's genuine. No one tells them they have to do this. Says you must be good and you must do this. It's a personal commitment that every single Ukrainian has in them to make sure that this economy continues to work, that life is as normal. There's nothing normal about life here, but they make it normal because that's a decision they've made. And to see that come back as a reward into the future, that's my dream, is that every single Ukrainian gets that reward for the commitment that they have made to this country.
I have a few personal questions. Okay, so just to finalize this part of our fire chat, there is no fire, but it's definitely a chat. Okay, so you often speak about turning the impossible into possible. You already gave a couple of examples, but what is your personal formula for doing this apart from being naive?
It's actually quite simple, and I always start from the end. I know exactly where I want to end up. I know the end goal, and I do this in my SWAT operations. I do this in my business operations.
Yeah.
I define what does the end look like.
The vision. The
What
vision,
does
which is
success look like?
defined as
It's even not so much the vision. It's the end state. I know this end state. Yeah, yes, it's vision, but sometimes vision can be really grand. That's nice and that's important.
Mm.
But like, what's the result? What am I going to do with that vision? What's it look like? And then from there, I work to today.
Yeah.
And what that does, and again, this is what my book Decide for tactical
Yes.
crisis decision making. You will always have things that will deviate you as you go along, and as long as you know where you're headed in business or in any other kind of crisis situation, you'll always get there. You get pushed to one side, you get pushed to the other side. It happens. It always happens. As long as you don't lose vision of where you're at and what you want that end success to look like, you'll get there. You got to be persistent, not give up, but you'll get there.
And, how how tolerant you are, because it normally takes time.
It does.
Yeah,
I'm a very patient guy. I'm a very patient guy, except for the fact that my book is titled The Impatience Economy.
yes, yes, wonderful books, but that's okay.
I'm patient in moving to the end result. I'm impatient. I want to get there now.
Yeah,
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
But you just have to persist. You have to persist, and you can't take failure as an excuse. You can't let external factors say, "I tried. It's too bad."
Okay.
No, that's not okay.
well, I think it's a lot of common sense in your answer, because I do not trust that it is a simple path from A to B.
Never.
I know that it is like this one.
Always.
What is important is to keep in mind your objective.
Yep.
Okay, and to ensure kind of continuity in your development, in your movements. Okay, so
And I mentioned before, it's great for you to have that, but this is where team comes in
Yes.
and ability to communicate. You got to communicate to your team
Yeah.
where we're going
Yeah.
and how we're going to get there because you can't get there by yourself. No
Yeah.
chance.
No
Well,
chance.
big things, you need people, but that means you got to communicate and you have to pick the right people and then together get there.
With all your experience, which is plenty of, honestly. Okay, so what is your current definition of success?
So for me personally, it starts with my faith and my spiritual life. Second, it goes to my family, their faith, their spiritual life, that they are giving back what they're supposed to be giving back for the privileges that they have and the successes that they have. And then, of course, there's economic success. But I'll tell you, the economic success is number 3. It's not number 1 for me because it could be very misleading to think that you're good enough to achieve a certain economic success. And as any individual, you're just not. That shouldn't be your driver. Then throw in, of course, societal impact. For me, that's important. I want to make a difference, and I want to do something that someone else hasn't done. I want to be a pioneer. It's just how I live my life. I always have, doing something different, and I've been doing that my entire life. And to me, that drives me. And that means I have to do stuff that is a bit weird sometimes and a bit different because I want that result.
It sounds like you are challenging impossible.
Yeah, I like that.
So
But I like that.
you had a lot of examples, but what does true leadership mean to you?
The ability to set that end goal for yourself, to know where you
Yeah.
want to go, to communicate it, to have a team and pick that team. All those are leadership traits. Without that, you're not going to be able to take, let alone yourself, an entire organization to where it needs to go. So you need to be able to have the vision, define, communicate, pick a team, and then, of course, motivate. You got to motivate your team because there's always going to be a lot of horrible things and a lot of deviations and a lot of unfairness.
Yeah.
Life is full of unfairness, and it doesn't matter. You got to go through it.
Okay, I'm done. Okay, but I will let my colleagues, okay,
With pleasure.
to spend next 10, 15 minutes with your personal questions. Guys, you are welcome to join us and to ask your questions. Yes, Ilya, please.
My dear friend Ilya.
Good evening, Augie.
Hello.
You started from the angle that you are really like doing entrepreneurship, right? But if we just understand what is behind this meaning, soft and hard skills, how you identify this entrepreneurship in all of us, because this is not something that you can buy or you can learn. It can be part of you or you can grow this skill.
For me, how I would define entrepreneurship and me, because again, of course, I am an entrepreneur, but I also have kind of bridged the world from entrepreneurship to a multinational global, right?
Yeah.
To build a company with 60,000 employees, 40 billion. That's not just being an entrepreneur. You need a lot of structure, along the way too. And entrepreneurship is to not be constrained by reality. It's to persist. It's to have vision, but to be able to communicate the vision.
Mhm.
Right. And that's what a real successful entrepreneur is capable of doing. And so you have, corporate entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship, all that means that you're able to take those qualities and use that within any kind of organization that you're in. That's how I define entrepreneurship.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Misha, please. Are you going to ask the tricky questions that we discussed beforehand?
There's a setup here.
No, it was the setup, no. Actually, it was true. So we have discussed the question, and I was going, this one.
I have another one.
Okay, please.
No. You go ahead with that one.
No, please.
So we are just kidding before the recording. So yeah, I have a very simple one, but maybe a little bit personal. What was the biggest no that you heard, and then you enjoyed breaking it and showing that it was possible subjectively, not like maybe it wasn't the 40 billion company or something like that, but
The biggest no was hearing 13 times
wow.
no when I wanted to take VEON public. 13 different banks told me no. And taking VEON public was existential for me. I was an entrepreneur. I was American entrepreneur, teamed up with a scientist, a Soviet scientist. We were completely out of our depth. We're in the wild west, wild east, in a environment that was dominated by oligarchs or mafia or overreaching government. And we had no chance to survive on our own. No chance. The only chance we had to survive is as a public company, so that I could have investors from the United States, the large investors, the Fidelities, the Schroders, big, powerful companies behind us, and frankly, the US government to help protect us. So hearing no 13 times, and I had 13 different banks say no, that was a big turnaround, because in the end, we found one bank that said yes to us, and we made it happen. And it completely made VEON possible. Without it, there's no chance we would be around here today.
Was it a pleasure?
It was amazing. It was amazing.
How many times did you propose to your wife?
Okay, I can tell you, I make decisions fast. All right.
We know. And affected a bit, but
So I actually met my wife in Acapulco, Mexico. She's from the US, very Midwestern. Met her in Acapulco. 7 days later, in Moscow, I was engaged. And 30 years later, we were happily married with 3 wonderful kids.
She didn't say no.
She did not say no, which is quite extraordinary that she didn't say no, but she did not say no.
Thanks.
okay. Yes, Svet, please.
Augie, being pioneer is in your nature. I know that you would never stop. This is something that you were born with, and you would continue to live. And I understand that Kyivstar's IPO won. It was one of the recent dreams that came true. So what is your next dream?
Wow, what a great question that is. I have to tell you, right now, I don't have one. Right now, we've got to make Kyivstar a success. I feel a personal commitment to making Ukraine a success. I have to tell you, it's kind of weird, because who am I? I'm just one guy. But I need to get that done. When I get that done, then the new dream will come. Right now, we've got VEON, we've got Kyivstar, we have Ukraine. Right now, that's my dream.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Any more questions?
I'm still waiting for the tricky question.
The tricky question was, how much did you earn? Okay, so as a result of Beeline IPO and
I earned enough to be able to never work in my life, but fortunately, I could never imagine not working.
No, I think it's a bit suicidal. Yes, just to earn a lot of money when you are 25 years old. Just to stop working. So
I actually, believe it or not, spent 17 days where I decided I retired. It only lasted 17 days. 17 days. And I will also tell you very honestly, half of it was my decision, and half of it was my wife's decision. Out. I don't need you around here.
So this is a vivid example when adrenaline junker is actually locked in at home. Okay.
Thank you, Sasha. This
Thanks.
is fun.
Thank you.